can't remember how many days I woke up upset just because I was still alive. I went to bed hoping I would die and would wake up angry at myself just for still breathing. The mission was my last chance to prove that I had worth in this life, and I blew it. My religion places so much pressure on being a perfect missionary, and I just wasn't. Coming home was unheard of, or rather, it was a bad omen. Coming home basically gave you a red dot across your forehead. What's wrong with her? She's damaged goods. When is she going back? Is she not worthy enough? No one ever asked how I was doing. It was always, so when are you going back? Like I was just a number, not a person. I did my best to hide my depression from my siblings. When they would talk to me, I was able to feed off their positive energy, but once they left, I was nothing more than an empty husk. A weight kept getting heavier in my chest. It grew every day, getting bigger, larger, more grandiose. Just existing was painful. Why did I exist? I can't get anything right. Who could ever love this screw up? Turns out there was a reason I had so much physical pain on the mission. Like I predicted, in a few short minutes, the podiatrist knew exactly what was making my walking difficult. I had plantar fasciitis in both feet. Basically, every time I walk on an incline, the tendons in my feet get small tears and the tendon becomes inflamed. It worsens the more you walk on it, so good thing on the mission we were walking 5 miles a day. Usually they would put you in a boot for a few months while the tendon gets rest, but I had it in both feet, so lucky me. The doctor prescribed physical therapy, icing, and special orthotics. I went to physical therapy, but my heart really wasn't in it, so it didn't help much. I could barely get around my parents' house without bursting into tears because of the pain. I didn't want to get better for myself. I just wanted to be dead. I did YouTube before the mission, so if you were subscribed when I made those FNAF videos, I commend you. I would animate videos for YouTube because I was pretty bored with life. I think a part of me wanted to be noticed, but I was too afraid of any in-person interaction. After the mission, though, I used YouTube to distract myself from the pain of everyday life. Working on videos gave me a robotic way to live. As long as I pumped out videos, I had a reason to keep going. Eventually, I gained 1 million subscribers. I had no idea what to do for the video, so I dressed up like a dinosaur. I remember reading comments like, how come she isn't more excited about gaining that many subs? She's so spoiled. Yeah, I would kill for that many subscribers. How could I allow others to love me if I didn't even like myself at all? They liked an idealized version of me, but if they knew how truly pathetic and sad I really was, they would leave me for sure. I didn't even know why people watched my videos. I didn't even know who I was. Being a YouTuber was just a persona. The internet is one thing, but real life wasn't any better. I was tired of getting asked when I would go back to the mission from the people in my church ward, so I started attending a single adult ward. That was a big mistake. Turns out that I would feel more alone by doing so. One time I was waiting for the meeting to start when a few girls waved at me to come sit with them. I was surprised. I kind of spoke a few times with them before, but sit with them? Maybe this was a potential friend connection? I sat down hopeful next to them. So, how was your weekend? Hey, so, how was your weekend? For some odd reason, they weren't even taking the time to acknowledge I was there. Hello? Alright folks, let's start the meeting. Remember, if you see someone sitting alone, to make sure to invite them to sit with you. Oh, so that's what this is. Hey, where are you going? Why do I always get my hopes up? Of course no one cares. I got up, sat in on an empty bench, alone, like I was meant to be, like how it always would be. This would always be my life. Why am I still here? I never turned to drugs or alcohol or anything like that. I didn't want something to mask the pain. I wanted it to be over as quickly as possible. I couldn't remember how to feel anything. All I felt was a huge pressure on my body that grew heavier and heavier. All I knew was sadness, and one day I just had enough. I had thought about it for months, but that day was the day. The day I was gonna take my own life. Early in the morning, before anyone was up, I took my dad's old 626 for a drive. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. I planned on driving off a nearby mountain. In my mind, if I was dead, I wouldn't have to be in pain anymore. I could be at peace. Every time I thought about dying, there was a sense of closure and longing. I got to the high incline, but at the last second, memories of my little brother started to flood into my head. I couldn't do that to him. I couldn't do that to my family. I couldn't leave my siblings behind. My parents had 10 kids, but I was one of them. Destroying myself would only be running away. The scariest part of life is facing things that oppose you. I knew I had to change something, but I didn't know where to start. But I'm glad I didn't go through with it. Eventually, I left my parents' house to go to college in a different state. It was nice to finally be somewhere else. I'm sure California is fine for some, but for me, even to this day, feels like a prison. I rented a room in an apartment building. When I wasn't going to school, I was either working on videos to distract myself or I was sleeping. I tended to sleep during the day and work at night so I would avoid all human contact. I was still in chronic pain anyways, so it's not like I was super up to walking places to meet others. One day I figured I should get some fresh air. It was 3 a.m. in the morning, and I went out of my apartment and just walked for hours. Barefoot. The physical pain was the only thing I could feel at that point, and that's all I wanted to feel. Some sick part of me just wanted to feel something. After a few nights of this... Is that a cat? There was a stray black kitten that was all alone outside of the complex. Every night he would follow me around while I walked. For some reason that lifted my spirits a bit. It was almost like having a friend. I never had animals growing up, so this was new to me. I started looking forward to seeing him. I would feed him and he would follow me as I walked aimlessly on the streets. I couldn't keep him because my apartment didn't allow pets, so rip. YouTube paid the bills, so I would be stuck in my apartment all day with not much to do. I would constantly be watching anime, until I stumbled on My Hero Academia. There's a scene in the show where Deku fights Todoroki. Todoroki has ice and fire powers. He inherited his fire powers from his dad, and during the fight he refuses to use them because his father was abusive. Deku helps Todoroki realize that his fire power is his own and not his father's. It was then and there I realized I had made a huge mistake. My life was mine, not my parents', not the church's, not any passerby's interpretation. It was mine alone. I ran to the mirror and I realized I had not looked at myself in so long. I didn't know who I was looking at. But it was also then and there that I knew I needed to do something. Luckily, I didn't have to do it alone. One day I got a text from someone. It was the nice sister from the mission. After a few short months of texting back and forth, she asked me if it would be okay if she came up to live with me. Huh. Now, even though she was nice to me, I still didn't trust her. But after 6 months of asking the same question, why do you hang around me? 'Cause you're nice, and I like you, and we're friends. Friend, I don't understand what that means. A part of me was still waiting for her to leave, and I was just preparing myself for that, but she never did. Now we've been friends for over 1.5 years, and just through her friendship, it taught me a lot of things. Everyone's healing process is different, so take these lessons I learned with a grain of salt, but these 6 lessons are things I had to learn. And hopefully some people struggling with the same stuff, maybe this will help you out too. Lesson 1. Always give people a chance. After being burned so many times, it was hard for me to believe in real relationships. But that nice sister helped me understand that there are good people out there. Sometimes it just takes a while to find them. Be cautious, but also be optimistic. Lesson 2. Express how you really feel. Be your authentic self. If you have to hide your true self in order to secure a relationship, they probably won't like you anyways. Say how you really feel and don't leave people in the dark. No one can read your mind. One of the scariest things I did to change myself was go on Facebook Messenger and text people from the past and tell them how I felt. Some responded and others didn't. The few ones that did respond said things like, I had no idea I hurt you, or I had a lot of growing up to do, I'm sorry. And you know what? The ones that didn't respond, it didn't matter to me. Once I displayed my true emotions, I was able to move on. Lesson 3. Stop reliving the same scenarios. One of my biggest issues was that I wouldn't let go. I would repeat the same memories in my head over and over, defining myself as what mean people told me I was. Instead of reliving, accept what happened, tell yourself that was then, and this is now. You don't need to stay there mentally. It's over. It's in the past. Now, something like that obviously is not going to take one time thinking that way, but if you keep recycling in your brain, hey, I'm living in the now, that was then you'll have an easier time moving forward. That's not letting people in the past get off the hook, but it's letting you keep growing where they have kind of halted your growth by what they did. Lesson 4. Assess your mental age. For some people, including me, trauma can cause them to stop progressing. Ask yourself, what age are you? So if you're like 25 and people ask you how old you are and you instinctively say 18, there might be a disconnect. I was 16 in my brain for a long time until I turned about 21. Just that stupid seminary girl that didn't invite me to her party, I let it control my life. And that was dumb. Once I started to undo those bad thoughts, I was able to break that mental age and start progressing, start growing, start living again. Lesson 5. Don't take things so literally. People don't know how they affect others most of the time. Lesson 6. Life is messy. There are going to be ups and downs, and that's okay. Take life one day at a time. It's kind of crazy because after being so low for most of my life, anything above offing myself is seen as a win in my book. I only knew what true happiness was once I had been through sincere sorrow. Go out there and find who you really are. Only you can determine where your life will go. What is the purpose of life? Why should I get up every morning and keep going on? I'm sure I'm not the only one who's had a hard time finding the answer to that question. I was drowning for so long, pretty much most of my life, but after all I've gone through, my answer would be that life is about creation. The creation of memories with others, technology, ideas, music, art. We all want to keep creating. If you end yourself prematurely, you'll miss out on all life has to offer. Discovering something new every day is what gives us purpose. Humans are quite a funny species. We are always searching for a purpose in everything, but in reality, we have to give ourselves our own purpose. Looking back at all the harsh people in my life, it's a shame that they couldn't just enjoy this life with me. But without those experiences, I would have never understood what true joy was. Being with the friends I love, making new memories with them. Life is more simpler than what people make it out to be these days. So to those people that have hurt me in the past, all I have to say is thanks. See you later. I hope this series wasn't too heavy for you guys. I'll focus on more uplifting videos from now on. I mainly just wanted to target people out there going through hard times to tell them that there is a brighter future out there for you. It may not be today or tomorrow or next year, but it does exist. I'm gonna link a bunch of resources that helped me out during my life down below in the description. Songs, videos, talks. When I'm feeling down, I tend to look at these resources over and over again, so I thought I might as well just share them with you. There's a funny one down there that really helped me out, where a preacher talks about the difference between a male and a female brain, and for some reason, knowing the difference made me refocus how I thought about things. All links down below, of course. Thanks for being patient about the upload schedule. Making this series was kind of therapeutic for me, and I hope I was able to help someone out there feel a little better. If you want to tell me about your journey, my Instagram DMs are always open. And as always, thanks for watching.